brothers David and his wife Vicky invited me here today to give my testimony. Before I get started, I'd like to thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers and the ordeal I went through, because I believe in the power of prayer, and I have faith in the power of prayer for healing, because I'm standing here in front of you today as a testament to that. Back on Friday, April 27th, I was shot by a 12-year-old boy in the back of the head. But before I get started with that, I'd like to give you a little background information how I was involved with this boy. For about 2.5 years, I mentored this boy. He come from a broken family. His dad was in prison most of his life, 10 years, and he's only 12 years old. His mother last year got 3 DUIs, and the very first one she had child endangerment. She spent 180 days in jail and just got out this past March. And his older brother is 20 years old. He's been in and out of youth detention centers. Now he's in prison. He had stolen 9mm, shot up 2 people but didn't hit them. Now he's got double attempted murder charges on him, stolen firearm, and a bunch of misdemeanors. And he's going to be in for a long time. So that's what this boy was living in. And I tried to mentor him. He joined Scouts, and he didn't have the money to join, so I sort of sponsored him. And then he wanted to go to Scout Camp, which Scout Camp's like $380 for the week for each Scout. But the troop pays half of it, so he had to come up with $190. So I told him, I said, you could work for me at my place, which at the time he was only 10 years old. And this boy, he's always polite to me, never back talks me, never cusses and swears. And he is a little hard worker. So I was paying him $10 an hour, and he earned the money to go to Scout Camp. Well, 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks before I got shot, I got a text from him at 10:33 a.m. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, he should be in school. And he texted me, he wanted to know if I had any work for him. So I texted him back and said, don't you have school today? And he texted me back and said, no, he had a doctor's appointment. So I texted him back and said, are you sick? He said, no, I have to get a physical. So I decided, thinking to myself, I said, I'm not going to reward this boy for not going back to school and coming working for me. And I told him I'd pick him up at 3 o'clock that afternoon. So I had to do some things, and about 1:30 that afternoon, I went to the post office, got my mail, and I was coming out. I see his mother and his younger brother walking towards the post office. I didn't think nothing about it. I went home and did some things, and I went and picked him up at 3 o'clock. He came up to my house and worked 2 hours, and I'm telling you, he does work. Then at 5 o'clock, he worked 2 hours for me. I took him home, and as we were driving home, he talked about he wanted to go mentor fishing the next day with his friend and his friend's father. I asked him if he had his new mentor fishing license, and he said no. I said, do you have the old ones? He said, yeah, they're at the house. So I pulled in front of his house. He goes in, and his mother's outside. And the neighbor comes walking over and said that his house was broken into. And I'm not putting anything together with it. And the boy comes out, I run him over to the hardware store, he gets his new mentor fishing license, and I bring him home and drop him off. Well, Sunday evening, his mother calls me and tells me he's in juvenile detention center. I'm like, for what? She said he broke into the neighbor's house. I said, what did he steal? She said he stole a 9mm, ammo, and a .22 cricket rifle. Well, I asked her, how did you find out? She said Saturday evening, he was in his bedroom playing with the shells. He had them shaking them, and she said, where'd you get them at? And he said, from his friend. So they gathered up the shells and went up to his friend's house. His friend's father was there, and he asked him about it. And he said that, no, they're not mine. Well, the mother thought, well, maybe it's the neighbor the house was broken into. Well, at the time when she said that, Danny ran away. The boy, his first name's Danny. He ran away. So the mother goes down to the neighbor's house and questions the neighbor, asks him if he can identify these shells. And he said, yes, they're mine. So his mother calls state police 2 troopers brought down, they come, hunt him, get him, and question him in front of his mother, and he says the 9mm was up in his bedroom, the 22 Cricket rifles out in the shed. So they recovered all that. So he's in youth detention center, and Friday morning, he has a hearing. The day I got shot, he has a hearing. He's in shackles and handcuffs in front of the judge, the DA, the state trooper arrested him, and his juvenile probation officer. Well, the DA, the state trooper, and his juvenile probation officer all made the recommendation to keep him in the juvenile detention center. The judge made his decision that he had a psychological evaluation on Wednesday, and he passed. So they took shackles and handcuffs off of him, more or less slapped his hand, and sent him home with his mother. Well, that afternoon, a knock comes at my door, and it's Danny. I look out, I'm thinking, he should be in juvenile detention center. So I walk out, talk to him on the back porch, and ask him, I thought you was in juvenile detention center. He goes in, tells me he had a hearing that morning, but he didn't tell me that the state trooper or his juvenile probation officer or the district attorney made the recommendation to keep him in. If he would have said that, I probably would have said, I'll see you later, but I didn't. He asked me if I had any work, and I said, yeah, I got some work. But the first thing he wanted to do was call his mother. So I got my cell phone out, and it says, right on it says, Danny's mom. So I dial, put it on speakerphone, and hand it to him. She answers, and he says to her that I made it to Wade's. And I can remember her saying, she said, you do not leave Wade's house unless you call me. Because he was only supposed to be around me through his probation. Well, he hangs up with her, and we get my 4-wheeler out in the cart, and we picking up work through the yard. It was about an hour and a half went by, and he asked me if he could use the bathroom and get something to drink. Well, I was sun porch. The first door was unlocked. The second door in the main house was locked. I unlocked that second door and let him go in. Trusted him. I went back outside. Well, he'd come out, acted normal, talked to me. He went back to work. About an hour went by, and I said, I need to go to the bathroom. Well, I started to that first door into the sun porch, didn't make it to the second door, and I felt like I got hit in the back of the head with a ball bat. And sparks were flying, and they said it hit so hard in the back of the head that it affected my central nervous system. I felt like I got shot. I was shaking like. And when that subsided, I can remember vividly, this red curtain come down across my eyes. And when it got to the bottom, I passed out. See, at this point, I didn't know I was shot. And when I come to the first time, I opened my eyes up, I couldn't see nothing. Everything was black. And I tried to keep trying to open my eyes up, still couldn't see. And I brought my hand up, I was just ready to touch my eye, I felt it blank, and I couldn't see my finger. And right there, I knew I needed help, and I prayed. I said, Lord, I'm not ready to give up on this beautiful earth you've given us. Lord, I believe in you and have faith in you. Lord, thank you for everything you've done for me and will do for me. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen, Lord. Amen. And I passed back out. I couldn't tell you how long I was out. But when I came to the second time and opened my eyes up, I could see. I could see colors, I could see shapes. But my hair was a little muffled, and my head was aching real bad. And I reached around to touch my head, and I felt wetness, and then I felt this hole. And I was still laying on the floor looking face up. I rolled around looking like, what did I fall on? Because I still didn't know I was shot. When I brought my hand around, it was covered in blood. So I tried to get up, and I got up, and I was so unbalanced, and I was ready to unlock that second door. It was still locked. I had to get the key out of the pocket, unlocked it. I stumbled my way through the house, got into the bathroom. I had to go through my bedroom, into the bathroom, and I run the water, got real cold, and put a washcloth on it, got it soaked, and I put it on the back of my head, and the coldness sort of soothed pain. When I come walking out of the bathroom into my bedroom, my bed was made, but I noticed the cover was pulled back right at the pillow. So I walked over, pulled the cover back, lifted the pillows up, and my 9mm was missing. The holster was still there. And that's when I realized I was shot. I sat down on the bed, And I pulled my cell phone out, and I had a missed call from Danny's mom. And there's a story to why this missed call was there. But some reason, I had read out, and it went straight to her voicemail. And the state troopers and the DA said I was so calm when I said this to her. I left a message that said, Heidi, this is Wade. I said, Danny stole from me. If I don't hear back from you in a couple minutes, I'm going to call the state police. Well, I knew I needed help, and I stumbled away back to the house, went out to the sun porch, got on the back porch and sat down. I knew the ambulance could come right back down to me. So I called 911 and tell them who it was, where I lived at and all. And I said I need an ambulance and the state police. First thing he asked me, he said, what do you need an ambulance? I said, I believe I got shot in the back of the head from a 12-year-old by a 9mm. And that went blank. Even the troopers and the DA said, this 911 operator didn't know what to say. He come back on and said, are you sure you got shot in the back of the head? He said, most gunshot wound victims to the back of the head ain't responsive like you are. And I said to him calmly as can be, I said, well, I have a hole in the back of the head I can't explain. I said, when 9mm stolen, and he stole my four-wheeler. So he said he's going to get the ambulance out right away. Well, they stationed not too far from the house, but they weren't allowed to come up because the state police weren't there to make it secure. Well, I could hear this on 911, and I told him, tell them he's not here, he stole my Ford, and he's gone. Well, the one EMT is related to me. Her brother is married to my sister, David's twin. And she heard it, and she told her crew, she says, I'm going up without state police being there, because she knows me, and said that if you just want to stay here, where they were stationed at, or you can come. They all said they was coming. So they come up and got me in the ambulance, and as soon as we left to start down the lane, all these state troopers came. There was a total of 21 troopers out that day trying to find him from 3 different counties, Mifflin, Fulton, and Huntington. Well, the 911 operator asked me then, he said, can you give a description of the boy? I said, yes, I can. I said, his name's Danny Richardson. He's 12 years old. I said, he's got blonde hair, blue eyes. I said, he's 4'8", 4'9". I said, he's got a camouflage shirt on, dirty blue jeans. I said, he's got a pair of pull-on leather boots with the top of the toes wore down to the steel toes. You can see the steel toes. Then he asked me if I could give a description of my four-wheeler. I said, yeah. I said, it's a 1995 Yamaha Wolverine. I said, it comes from the factory with no racks on it. I said, it has a small red crate on the back. I said, it has a red push bar in the front and dual brown headlights close together. Well, when the state troopers caught him, they looked him up and down, and they just couldn't believe the detailed description I give of him because of the fact that having a gunshot wound to the back of the head. When they got him handcuffed with the car, one of the troopers said, how can this man with a gunshot wound to the back of the head give this detailed description? Well, I didn't see a state trooper from Huntington County, from where I live, until 3 weeks after shooting, and he was telling me that. And I told him, I said, it was the glory of God going through me to catch him, because I didn't know if he still had my 9mm riding around before and shooting people. So the trooper told me when they caught him and they had him and questioned him, they asked him why he shot me. He said he shot me to steal my Ford money, but when he shot me and I collapsed, he got scared and threw the gun down to the yard, stole my Ford, rode home, told his mom that I gave him permission to ride it. Well, then he decides he wants to ride it to his friend's place. And his mom says, you need to call Wade to get permission. So he calls my cell phone 6 times and hung up. That's why there was all these missed calls on my cell phone. Well, I got life flighted to Altoona, and when I was on life flight, once they got leveled off, the medic asked me to move my toes. He said, then he put his fingers up, squeezed his hands, and he said, you know who the president is? I said, yeah, Donald Trump. He said, you know what month it is? I said, yeah, it's April. I said, May 1st, April, Tuesday. He said, you're very lucky. He said, most gunshot wound victims to the back of the head ain't responsive like you. I said, there's no such thing as luck. I said, I'm a miracle and blessing from God. I said, you cannot explain it any other way. And he said, "You're right, Wade, because you can't explain it any other way. It was a miracle blessing from God."
My Lord.
Well, I was in Altoona Hospital 4 days, and I went to Health South Rehabilitation Hospital 11 days. The very first day I was in, I get transferred about 1:30, and they brought me into the room, and me being so tall, they had extension put on the bed. A maintenance guy came in and put this extension on the bed. And the nurse was talking to me about why I was in. I told her I had a gunshot wound in the back of the head. This maintenance guy, his name's David, was overhearing what I was saying. Well, he went home that night and told his wife, he said, "I believe I'm not the guy we've been reading about in the paper and seeing on the news." Because it went nationwide. It was out in California, down in Florida. It was on the Good Morning America show, the Today show, about me being shot. Well, his wife tells him, "Why don't you go in and talk to him?" So a couple of days later, he comes in and talks to me. And I tell him the story up to the point where I unlocked the door. And when I tell him I unlocked the door, I said, "That's when I made a mistake." He pointed right at me and said, "Wade," he said, "you didn't make a mistake." He said, "You trusted him just like God and Jesus trust us every day to do things right. He's the one that made the mistake, not me." He said, "That's why you are alive today." He said, "God created a miracle and blessing out of you to show other people." Well, the next day I started therapy, and I was still in a wheelchair. It was like 7 days I wasn't allowed. They helped me get up out of the wheelchair into the bed and go to the bathroom. Well, the very first day I had therapy, I was doing all my exercise out of the wheelchair. I had to do leg lifts. They was asking me to do 30, and I always did above and beyond. I was doing 50. I was doing 50 ankle raises, 50 leg stumps, and the therapist looked at me and said, "You know how many you've been doing?" I said, "Yeah, 50. She said, "I already asked you to do 30. I looked at her and said, "It's the glory of God working through me for healing." She said, "You are right, Wade." She said, "I can see it in you. You're never negative about anything. You always have a smile on your face." And it's the truth. When you have God flowing through you that day, I mean, he was remarkable. He made me be able to identify that boy and get him taught. They said he taught him within an hour. And I could give my testimony to God for doing what he did in my life that day. And thank you very much.